Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my series How to Solve Chess Tactics. So I received a lot of positive feedback about my last two videos, so thank you for that first of all, and well, I guess it just means that I should produce some more. So let's go right ahead to Chess24. Here we are and start the classic trainer. And you already know how it works. So before I'm about to solve the tactic, it's your turn to try and go ahead. Alright, so stop the video and then now I'm going to try to solve it. Okay, so this seems to be pretty straightforward. I'm down a rook. Black is about to threaten to get a queen, so I should probably move my pawn. And I mean, I don't even have to think about anything else because clearly I don't have any other options. So e7. And this is also something you can do, method of elimination. It's not really always about tactics, but just to save time. I mean, I'm seeing people sometimes pondering and pondering about the only move they can play in a certain position, and that's just a waste of time. For example, if you have to recapture something, or if you're in check and you only have one move, don't think that much about what's going to happen next. Just play the move and then think while your opponent has to play. Okay, so now we can think, because now we have several options to play. Can get whatever piece we want, and it turns out that, well, if we get a queen and black is going to get a queen, we don't have a check. Well, we have a check in b5, but we don't want to give that check. And if we then try to checkmate or anything, no, it just doesn't work. The queen comes back to b7. So it's not going to be a queen. Doesn't help us. And what else is at our disposal? This time I say correctly. Well, obviously rook and bishop don't help either, so it must be a knight. And then we can already see there's this perpetual with knight c7 and knight takes b5. So that wasn't too hard. And well, just giving some checks, and there we go. All right, so next one. Yeah, I don't think I have to add anything to that puzzle. Okay. Well, as always, stop the video, and now let's see. All right, so I'm up in exchange, but black has a ton of pawns. Well, but I have these two pass pawns here. And certainly I would like to get one queened. So the question is, do I go first a6 or do I take first on d5? That are certainly my two candidate moves here. Well, if I take first on d5, bishop takes a6, then I'm not threatening anything. And I don't like that, because a7 and bishop just takes b7, if it was my move again. But I think if I do it the other way around, a6 first, then knight takes c3, knight takes d3, and now the bishop can't go to d5. And actually I don't see a way for black to prevent me from queening my pawn. So a6, the knight cannot go anywhere close to the pawn. Bishop takes c3, also a7. Alright, take on c3 first, doesn't matter. So knight takes, bishop e8 doesn't help. Well, I'm going for it. I mean, I don't see anything black can do. So he takes. I could even play a7 right ahead and queen, but then he would have three pieces plus these pawns in the center. I mean, I don't have to allow that. I just take on c3 first, and I think he can still not prevent me from queening. Yep, and well, now I just have a queen, so what are you going to do now? Okay, and it's over. And maybe a lesson you can take from here, sometimes people fall into this trap. They see, oh, I can get a queen, so I'm going for it right now. And it actually happened to me myself. I saw, oh wow, I can get a queen, so that must be winning. And then suddenly my opponent built up a fortress. I don't know if it if that's necessarily true here. But even if you can get a queen, still try to look if there are better options as well. And here, to first take on c3, it was definitely better to not give black this knight, obviously. So, alright, let's go to the next exercise. Okay, you know what to do, and I'm going to try to solve it right now. Alright, so my queen is pinned. That's not good, because that means I lose it. Do I have a way to unpin it? And again, I'm looking at moves to give check, and it's quite easy to spot that with the move rook f8, I'm unpinning my queen. And black has to take, and then I can give a check on e6 or d5, and then I see queen d5. Okay, black has to play the rook to f7, and then this guy on a8 is hanging, so then I win back the rook, first of all, and it means I already have a perpetual, and that's also something nice to have in your own games. If you calculate a tactical variation and you see, okay, I have at least a perpetual, that's a good thing, because then you're at least safe. So even if the attack is not going through, at least you have a draw. Or maybe you calculate a position and you see, oh wow, it's just way too complicated. I don't know if I really have, if I'm going to have a win, but at least I have a perpetual, so I can go for it, and then if I reach the position, I can still search for something better. So we can definitely go for this right now, because there were also not a lot of other options. So again, this method of elimination comes into play. Oh, my bad, I played too fast. I actually saw the solution, and queen d5 is not bad, but in this position, of course, I should take on a2 to free up the way for my rook, and then queen d5 would just repeat the moves one more time. Nothing wrong with that, but it was just wrong because queen takes a2 wins faster. Now queen a8, and now queen d5. Now the pawn is not on a2 anymore, so the rook can come down and checkmate. Alright, so I think that wasn't too hard either, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys saw that. Okay, next one. You know what to do as always, and I'm going to try and solve it. So again, let's take a look at moves with which give a check or take something. So e takes f6 does both, but black simply takes back on f6, and I think I actually worsened my position instead of making better, because now suddenly the rook on d6 and my knight is hanging, and I don't have anything else to do, so that's certainly no good. So other check moves, and then I already see this move, knight f5. This kind of looks attractive, because the idea is if black takes, then take on f6, and now the rook is protecting the pawn on f6, so the black king has to go to the 8th rank, and he doesn't like to do that, I'm pretty sure, because king e8 runs into mate immediately. So only thing we have to find is king f8, what to do then. So then rook d8, black can still play the bishop back to e8, and then the question is if there's a way to attack this bishop. So rook e1 would be a possibility, but it seems that black can hold on with rook e5 and still defending his position, or maybe even bishop e5. Well, rook e5 looks better. So that doesn't work, but maybe we can find a different way. And again, if you don't want to see the solution quite yet, you can again stop the video. What if we eliminate this bishop on c6 instead of giving a check? So we take on c6, and then black cannot take back in the end, because then it would be mate. So let's go ahead and play this. Check, check, and now not rook d8, bishop e8. Doesn't seem like it's winning. You know, well, there's one more line I just want to check. Rook d8, bishop e8, rook 1d7, threatening mate on f7, but again, black has one defending move, rook c7, and yeah, it's not working out. But rook takes c6, and he actually took, well, I don't know if he had something better anyway, but now, of course, just mate. So yeah, I think that was pretty straightforward as well. So I would say let's do one more. All right, you know what to do, and let's see what's going on here. So let's first check the material. So I'm having a queen against two minor pieces and a rook. So that's not good, because usually this, well, and I have 2 pawns. Well, that's a little bit better, but two minor pieces and a rook are definitely more than sufficient material for a queen. But there's some pieces hanging around here, so let's see if we can make use of that in some way or the other. So I see both the knight and the knight on d5 and on a5 are unprotected. And this is also something you want to look out for. Unprotected pieces can be victims of tactics. That's just a rule of thumb you can remember. But now let's see how concretely can we make use of that. So queen b5, the problem with that is, of course, I'm attacking 2 pieces, but then bishop on e3 is hanging as well. Then I could take on a5, but it doesn't look like I'm going to win one of those 2 guys, rook fe8 for example, and then just move the bishop, and no, that's not working. So queen b5, we can stop thinking about this move, unless there's something else after knight takes e3, but I would be very surprised if that's the case. I mean, rook e1, no, I can't believe that. Knight ac4, something like that, that can't be right. So what else is there? Maybe we should move this bishop then if it's hanging around. Maybe bishop d2 is a move. And I'm actually seeing that bishop d2 is also double attack, because for one we're attacking the knight on a5, well, duh. But on the other hand, queen e6 is threatening to win the knight on d5. So the question now is, can black protect against both threats? So one way would be certainly to play knight b4, to play this knight here. So then we have to continue checking what's going on there. But there are a lot of pieces hanging now. Actually, there's just a bishop hanging on e7 right away, so I don't even have to look at it any further. So it seems that bishop d2, there's no way for black to protect both pieces, both knights. You always have to check for some tricks, of course. Like for example, knight takes f4 or something, but well, bishop on e7 is hanging again. So that just looks like it's winning. Yeah, well, knight c6, making it easy, and that's over. Okay, all right, I think the puzzles today were a lot easier than the ones we had last time, so let me know how many you solved. You can post it below. Let me know which one was the most difficult one, and well, I would be happy if you subscribe to my channel if you like to see more of these videos. All right, bye.